Hi. It's been a minute. How's everybody doing? Today is going to be a story time, a very serious story time. I have my most comfy, comforting sweater and my lovely white noise machine set to relax. You can't see that because of the glare. So I have that going for the background for calming effect. I have a fiddle thing to fiddle with, which is just a straw that I hot glued together. Yeah. But hi. It's been a minute, right? It's been about 2, maybe even 3 months since my last video. My last couple videos were very somber. I was not as chipper. I was not as lighthearted. I tried to hide that a little bit, but I do know my last couple ones. I try to be real with you guys. I do want to put a trigger warning right now. This video is going to talk about suicide, suicide ideology, suicide attempts, self-harm, cutting, all of that. It is also going to talk about mental health and depression, anxiety, of course. I'm not going to get into too much details because I plan to make this a series because it's multifaceted, for sure. But there will be some talk of a hospital visit. So if you were triggered by any of that, please feel no shame. Click off. I hope you have a great day and I love you. This is your chance to click off. So bye. See you later. If you're still here, deep breath because we're gonna get into it. Okay, I've tried to make this video 6 times. Every time I start crying and delete it. So I did my makeup this time so that hopefully it will help me motivate myself not to cry because I think I look really pretty right now. So on January 1st of 2020, it was like 2 a.m. and I had just had a very bad day. That's an understatement. I had the worst day. I was just in a situation where I felt trapped. I felt like there was no escape and that my life was never going to get any better. It felt like no matter what I did, I was never going to get away from me, honestly. I can blame it on, people who abused me. I can blame it on circumstance and lots of different things. But in the end, I felt like I was never going to get away from me, the part of me that is destructive, the part of me that hates myself, and the part of me that was critical. And it felt like I was never going to escape the voices that are in my head. And I don't mean that in a literal kind of way. I've had no problems with any kind of multiple personality disorder or any of that. I just mean by voices I mean, sorry, it's a little shaky. By voices I mean that it felt like I was never going to get away from memories and things that would come up from past abuse scenarios in my head, that anytime I started to get better with my medication, with therapy, anytime I started making any progress, something would come up and remind me and it would just spiral. And a lot of it was my fault. I don't want to say my fault. I don't want to say a lot of it was my fault, but my reactions to those triggers could have been better. I would do this thing where if something set me off and I felt myself spiraling into depression or anxiety, if I had to interact with someone who had previously abused me, I would find the worst possible music I could find and I would make myself hurt as much as possible. because in a way, I think that's what, I'm still kind of dealing with why that was my process before. I think in a way, I felt like I needed to be punished for allowing myself to feel, for allowing that to get to me. I felt like I should not be that affected, so I'm going to make myself really affected. I also fell back into a really destructive cycle that I've been struggling with since I was 14. Since I was 14, I have been a cutter. It's been touch and go. Never had to go to the hospital for it before. Never had to really, really try to get help before because it was always under control. Not. And I would stop for a couple years and then go back to it, and it's part of the reason why I went to the therapist in the first place is because I was getting really bad. Things were getting to the point where I was going to need medical intervention if I kept going. So that's the essential reason why I went to therapy and started with medication and all of those things. So I say all of that to say, on January 1st, it was one of those times where I had been having depression a lot. My medicine was not working the way I thought it should. I'm going to put should in quotations every time because I hate that word. Get into that later. My medication was not helping me the way I thought it should. It didn't feel like it was helping. I thought I was broken because the medication wasn't helping. I was in a situation where like I said, I saw no off-ramp except one. And that was to die and check out. And so I don't want to get too deep into how I attempted because I don't feel like that's really important. I don't want to trigger anyone more than I have to. I don't want to give anyone any ideas also because I know from experience you have enough ideas. If you were considering suicide, you have enough ideas. You don't need someone else to give you their ideas about how they were going to do it. But I had a plan, and I had the materials and tools. I'm trying to avoid words that will be too specific because I don't want anyone to really, like I said, I don't want anyone to know exactly what I was going to do because I don't want to trigger anyone. But I had what I needed, and I had a plan. So I waited till my husband was asleep and came upstairs. And then I was like really like struggling with it. I was like, do I really want to do this? And honestly just kind of panicking because I'm terrified of death, honestly, which I know sounds silly to be like, I'm afraid of dying, thinking about suicide. But I had a friend, I have a friend who was going through some things themselves. I'm not going to name them for their personal privacy, but they were going through some things and we were kind of helping each other, you know. I thought we were helping each other. I hope we're helping each other. But I was texting them and I was worried mainly that if I left, that they were not going to be okay. Because honestly, we kind of had grown to a point where we kind of depended on each other's interaction, and I did not want to take that away from that other person. Now I do have a husband and a child, but I was so deep into my own depression that I honestly thought that everyone, my husband, my son, my best friend Jamie, everyone would be better off. I honestly believed that I was a burden to everyone and I was slowing everyone down, and that no one needed me really, and that I was just in the way. So I didn't allow myself to think about how it would affect them. But I knew that the one other person who I had become close with would be affected. So I made a mistake. Well, I don't want to say I made a mistake. I did not make a mistake, but I messaged my friend, and I said something really selfish to them. And I've apologized so many times. And of course, they are always, it's okay, you don't have to apologize, and you're forgiven, and all of that. But it's one of those things I look back on now, and I just realize how selfish it was in the moment to put everything on them like I did. But I texted my friend, and I asked them, if I left, would you be okay? And immediately they were like, what do you mean by leaving? And I was like, if I wasn't here. And bless my friend's heart, they immediately gave me some extreme tough love. I'm not going to say what they said to me because that's very personal. But it was tough love, and I needed it. I needed someone to kick my butt and tell me how it really is, and not sugarcoat it and not make excuses for me, because I feel like a lot of people do that for me, and I needed the opposite of that in that moment. So my friend gave me some extreme tough love, and then gave me a text number. So I texted the number, which was very helpful. And I will try to find that number and link it down below. If not, I will definitely have the normal numbers down below for texting. So, I texted someone, was connected to someone, decided against doing it. And then for the next week, I kind of just existed. Like, I was able to not go through with the plan. I did not mention it to my husband. I didn't tell anyone other than the one person I had already talked to. I was able to not do it every day, but it was getting harder. Every single day, it felt like living was getting harder. So, a week after my attempt, I went to my doctor. And I let them know what happened. And I asked for their advice because I'm terrified. I was terrified of going to the hospital for this. I've never been to the hospital for anything like that. I was absolutely terrified. So they advised me to go to the hospital. They're like, you need to go. You need to take care of yourself. You need this. Just for a break. Just so that you can kind of get a break from things, reset everything. They can work on your medication while you're there, and they can decide if you need to stay for safety. So I went home, texted my friend who I had already talked to because I was freaking out because I was terrified. Again, they said one of the most helpful things that have ever been said to me, which is, this is still your choice. Just knowing that I was still in control helped me so much to be able to take the steps I needed to, because feeling like I'm out of control is a lot of the reason why I self-harm. I figured that out about myself. I don't like to feel like I'm not in control. I don't like that. So my friend was like, you're still in control of this. You can still decide not to go. Now, obviously, they were not encouraging me not to go because they wanted me to get help. They wanted me to get better. But they realized, just like I did, that it had to be something I chose. So I came home, talked to my husband, and we drove to the local hospital. And when we got there, I went to the emergency room and I was very honest about what had been going on. They put me in a room, in the emergency room, with no door and a camera. And that is kind of the first moment that it was like, oh, this is like really happening. And this is really happening. Yeah. So then my husband came back there to sit with me. One of the doctors came in and talked to me, a lady. She was very nice. They told me that they were going to keep me for the regular stay was 5 to 7 days. Now, at this point, I was voluntarily coming in. I was voluntarily giving myself into this process. I knew they were probably going to keep me when I told them what had happened and how I was feeling. I knew that. I felt like I was still in control. But finding out they were going to keep me for 5 to 7 days, it's one thing to know that you are sick. For someone else to listen to you and be like, you need an intervention, there's not really words for that feeling. But my husband was there, he was supportive, so they let me say bye to my husband, and then I was taken to a different area of the hospital. Now, they have a holding area where you are kept for the first night if you come in later in the day. Now, I got there at like 6, so it was already too late to take me upstairs, so I went to a different department. I am going to try not to talk too much about certain things in this video because I am going to make it a series. I plan to make a series of this. I want to make it a series with different episodes, one being perks, the reasons that I think it's a good idea, reasons why I'm so glad I did it, and then kind of drawbacks, if there even are any drawbacks, because the benefits, in my opinion, in my experience, the benefits outweigh the drawbacks. But there were some things that could have been better about my stay and about the situation I was in and things like that. This video is just going to be like the gist of what happened. So yeah. And I'm definitely going to make a video about surprising things that happened when I was there that I really did not expect. Like, good surprises. So yeah, they took me to a different part of the hospital. I was in that part for the overnight. I was in that part overnight, and I stayed there about 12 in the afternoon. Then they took me upstairs, and then I was upstairs for 6 days, which is and right in between the 5 and 7, obviously, math. So that's where I've been. Now, that was a couple months ago that I got out. It took me a long time to get back into wanting to do YouTube. I'm definitely going to make a video talking about what I learned in the hospital. But I just don't want to make this video too long since it's my first video coming back. I don't want to make it too long because if I talk about every aspect, it's going to be hours long, like 2 hours. You guys don't want to watch a movie of me talking, obviously. I just wanted to give you guys, an update. I am doing better. I have not self-harmed since I left the hospital. So that is definitely there are no words. There are no words. And for the first time in my 14 years since I started doing that, I can honestly say I don't need that. I don't want that in my life. I don't need it in my life. I'm not perfect. There are always going to be times when I feel like I want to do it. because 14 years is a long time to be addicted to something. And it is an addiction, and I will make a video about that. A very ranty video about that. But anyway, I'm so happy that I can say that for the first time in 14 years, I can see a future without relapse. And that is huge. That's huge for me. So I'm very, very happy about that. I'm good now. Oh, well, as good as I can be. I'm still, I still have anxiety. I still have depression, but I am in therapy more. Being in the hospital, they did tweak my medications. I am on completely different medications now. I am on higher dosage of medications now. And since being on the new and more potent medications, I have noticed a big difference. I'm finally in a place where I feel like the medication is making a difference. Now, is it perfect? Obviously not. I had an anxiety attack just today for about an hour. But, so obviously not perfect. But there is no perfect, guys. It doesn't exist. There is just making it and trying to thrive as much as you can. And this experience has gotten me back to a place where I feel like I am on the road to thriving. For the first time in a long time, I have dreams, like not asleep dreams. That's a different story. I do have asleep dreams, but sorry, off topic. For the first time in a long time, I have dreams of what I want to accomplish. I have hope that I'm not going to relapse, and hope that things are actually going to get better, and that I'm actually going to be okay for the most part, So yeah, I'm back, and I'm happy to be back, and I'm doing much better. And I want to make sure I thank everyone who was really supportive to me while I was in the hospital. Andrew, you have my heart always, because you are the best husband that any girl could ever want. Yeah, you're amazing, and I love you so much. Jamie was so helpful when I was in the emergency room and I was freaking out and that fight or flight kicked in and I was like, I'm gonna run away. She was so helpful and like helping me center and be like, this is good, you've made a good decision. Nathaniel obviously is very helpful because he's just a good friend. And there's so many people. Like I'm just gonna go through a list. And I'm gonna list them here as I talk. And we're gonna see how that goes in editing. If not a list that scrolls, I am just gonna put a big list over here. So, Jamie, Eric, my mom, Andrew, Nathaniel, Tanya, Jimmy, you know who you are. You know what you do. If I'm forgetting anybody, I'm not really forgetting you. It's just that this video is very hard. And it's been very trying to sit here and actually make it. And I promise I'm not going to delete it this time. I'm going to upload this. It is going to happen. I made it through without crying. Woo-woo! So yeah, there will be more to the series. Probably the next one will be a more in-depth look at what happened. Thank you to everybody who's still here. And if you're not still here, that's okay. And if you're new here, hi. Also, Sage and Jamel, if you're watching this, sup. And I hope you guys are doing good too. I hope everybody's doing good. This coronavirus, this COVID-19 it's scary sometimes, and I know we're under quarantine right now and everybody's locked inside and we're not supposed to be leaving the house. It's very like, but like, it's important to maintain your mental health through this. So, that's what I'm going to end on Find something to do while you're inside, crafts, learn an instrument, something that makes you happy so that you can make it through this boring, frustrating, stir-craze-inducing mess of a quarantine. Because if you're anything like me, the stir-craze has set in. But it's a great time to spend home with your family, binge some YouTube, hey, and, you know, do something for yourself because you're worth it. So, hi again, welcome back. I am back, you're back, you're beautiful, I'm beautiful, maybe not, I don't know. Trying to lighten the mood, as always. I love you guys, always and forever. Don't give up, keep coming back. If you like it, comment below. Let me know if this was okay. If you found this triggering, I will have suicide hotline, text hotline for self-harm, all kinds of hotlines in the description. I hope you guys are doing great. Stay safe out there, or in there, as I should say, I guess. And find a way to communicate socially, you know. Do you, and I hope that everybody's really, like, I hope that everybody's good, and yeah, stay safe, and try to find something about this stay-at-home thing that you enjoy. And if you are considered essential, try to take time for yourself when you're not at work or doing your essential duties so that you can maintain your mental health too, because if you're deemed essential, you are out in the world when there are a lot of people not out in the world. So try to take time for yourself because it's easy to get overwhelmed when things are like that. So, I love you guys. Everybody stay safe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.